A while back, a term in the modern church became very popular called relational evangelism. While it never hurts anyone to be relational, the problem with the idea came when people started to believe that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That often quoted Christian euphemism sounded right because Christians are supposed to be loving, right? It sounded like it was good because bedside manner sometimes helps the squeaky wheels of evangelism. But it lacked one major thing, and that is that for thousands of years of Christian history, we had little info about the dining plans of the apostles of the church and the church fathers and martyrs. We simply know their words. While talk, I know, can be cheap, it's also a verb. It's an action. And it is an action that all Christians should engage in, because when the church is silent, it creates problems. That's why when Christians speak up and they are willing to pay a price for whatever they say, we should honor them. And this just happened in Tyler, Texas. From the AP, we get a story about this. Pope Francis on Saturday ordered the removal of the Bishop of Tyler, Texas, a conservative prelate active on social media who has been a fierce critic of the pontiff and has come to symbolize the polarization within the U.S. Catholic hierarchy. A one-line statement from the Vatican said Francis had relieved Bishop Joseph Strickland of the pastoral governance of Tyler and appointed the Bishop of Austin as the temporary administrator. Strickland, 65, has emerged as a leading critic of Francis, accusing him in a tweet earlier this year of undermining the deposit of faith. He has been particularly critical of Francis's recent meeting on the future of the Catholic Church, during which hot-button issues were discussed, including ways to better welcome LGBTQ plus Catholics. Aha! The death blow of any professional Catholic right now. Resist the Pope on the issues of the LGBTQ religion, and you are cruising for a bruising, as they say. Maybe a couple of things stick out to you as it did to me from this story. Maybe the glaring fact that the Bishop of Austin was put in the place of the Bishop of Tyler might give you an understanding of what the Pope is really about. You might as well have put Kate Bishop in as the bishop because her last name is Bishop. I know most of you don't even know who she is, but fond memories, because before I canceled Disney out of my life and out of the life of my kids, that was the last series that I watched, but don't worry, you're not missing anything. Point is, it seems pretty fair to say that the bishop of the most liberal city in Texas is probably going to come in and be pretty liberal in Tyler, Texas, but that could be what the Pope is really after at the end of the day. But let's also be fair. This new guy isn't just liberal, he's probably a coward as well, or else he would refuse to take Strickland's place. But the Pope has a long history at this point in time of doing these kind of things. Maybe you'll remember Frank Pavone, one of the most prominent pro-life voices in the Catholic Church, and he was defrocked by the Pope for placing an aborted fetus on the holy altar to issue a startling warning about the unholy nature of abortion. The Pope saw that and totally missed the point, and apparently doesn't have any appetite for irony, because as far as altars are concerned, the Pope, when asked about gay priests, said this: "Well, if they accept the Lord and have goodwill, who am I to judge them?" Well, you're the Pope, and this is kind of your job to see who is qualified for priesthood. I mean, he didn't think Frank Pavone was. Odd, right? But gay men violating scripture and Catholic teaching, you know, as long as they're good people, you know, they accept the Lord, well then, let them do whatever they want, the little rascals. Quick note to Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses: if you've ever thought about becoming a Catholic priest, now would be a great time to do that. In fact, if you're even a vacation Bible school student, you could probably get on that altar. The Pope is actively removing leaders, but only conservative ones. I think you get the point. If being a discerning truth teller is being judgmental, then call everyone with a conscience judgmental. There's a huge difference between saying, "This is who you are," and "What you're doing is wrong." This may be more than an obvious thing, but I don't think so, not today. Today, disagreement or difference of viewpoint is considered hateful, intolerant, and bigoted. Why? Because we have a society that does not know the difference between mutability and immutability. If you reject someone for something they cannot change, then you're hating on their creator. This is why the LGBTQ cult created the fictitious gay gene. Maybe you'll remember that. This is an implicit acknowledgement of the fact that certain things are mutable and those things should be judged. And then there are things that are immutable and those things shouldn't be judged. Anyway, All this brings us back to the idea of relational evangelism. The problem with people need to know how much you care before they care how much you know is that it places feelings before truth. That's just about the best postmodern take on ministry you can have. If a person doesn't feel good first, then they will never come to God. I mean, is that what we're trying to tell people? Moreover, there's a problem with that kind of response-based evangelism. You get a negative reaction as Jesus did when he preached, and that can be perceived as failure if feelings matter that much. Now, if salvation comes over multiple dinner dates with a neighbor who doesn't know Jesus, I will rejoice with you. But please, let's also remember that the very new strategy for evangelism does not take away the time-tested need for plain truth tellers on college campuses, boardrooms, and neighborhoods. I'm not talking about being annoying. I'm not talking about the guy who, when asked to pass the salt, says, "Not if you don't know Jesus." I'm simply saying discussions of an intellectual nature need no social lubricant. If we live in a serious society, that is. Maybe our desire to put stipulations on evangelism that never existed before now should cause some pause. Most importantly, maybe our desire to put our relationalness at the center of evangelism is yet another way that we've made the faith not only about other people, but ourselves and about feelings. By pointing to ourselves too much as a means of salvation, we make it about us rather than the one who it's really about. And this last point, it could be that we are really pointing to ourselves and our relational ability because telling the truth is actually kind of difficult, and communicating it in words takes a lot of forethought. I've tried to be very careful here, but relational evangelism is great, but it's also very slow. We need a mass movement of truth-telling as our society is headed in the wrong way and headed there very quickly. The soft soap approach, really endorsed by the Seeker Church, is a social lubricant of kinds, but if we're not careful, it's a social lubricant that paves the way to damnation. And as a charitable person who has taken time to know where they stand on important issues and is willing to tell the truth, I can tell you, it isn't easy, but it is necessary. Again, as much as I would like to say all of this just because I simply want a free pass to be a jerk, I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that the way we talk to others and tell the truth doesn't matter. I'm not saying that we tell the truth despite the person. I'm saying do it because of the person. Do it for the sake of the person. I'm simply saying that in a culture that rejects God and everything that has to do with Him, the truth teller will very often be the bad guy. And you'll have to make a decision. Are you willing to be a good guy in the sight of God, even if it means you are seen as bad in the eyes of man? I hope you choose right, and I hope this show helps you in that endeavor. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and go with God.
So you just got done watching a small excerpt of a much larger episode. You can find the link to that full episode down below in the description of this video. So you definitely want to check that out, because if you like that clip, you'll like the much larger episode. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click that little bell to be notified when great new episodes of Indie Thinker come your way. Thanks for watching.